Today I have decided to improve my deck for the rest of the push. Previously, we were running with just one copy of each structure deck and the free cards. However, it is still free to play with a second copy of the Ace Breaker structure. So we've added in the other Tough Striker, Aim Eagle, and Ace Breaker, removing some of the weaker bosses in our deck. While I was testing this off stream, I hit gold 5. So let's hop in and see if we are able to reach King of Games today. I think our deck is significantly stronger now. So I'm looking forward to the games. As you can see, we actually have some wins instead of just a torrent of losses. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can hit King of Games today. I know we haven't uploaded a video in a while, and I'm actually a little bit behind on the meta. So I know this Magician structure deck came out, and that it's popular, but I don't know how much of that is just because it is new. And we are up first. We have Torn of the Windweaver in our opening hand, and the bad thing is this is our only real way to beat through a set 3 board. I think I do want to set up the KoG, and then I'm going to keep the Aim Eagle around, but I will go ahead and throw away the Torna here. Realistically, it just doesn't do anything. And if they're bringing out a card like Ace Breaker or Dark Magician Girl, those monsters are going to have more defense than I am able to deal with the Torna. So against Yuga players, Torna should be lower value. Its biggest use case outside of flipping a defense monster mode to attack is switching Dragius to defense. But it looks like this is probably going to be a Magician Shuffle list. 7-Sword Witch, definitely going to see it go up to the 2400, I think. But do they have the 7-Sword Magician to pair with it? They do. A bit of a lucky start, but maybe not. If they are drawing 2 7-Sword Magicians, they might have trouble getting their boss monsters out in the future. Dark Sorcerer, another good card. Almost more or less the exact opening field you want to see as a 7th Axel Road player. It's also worth noting that by going second, they can search out the final 7-Sword Magician on their next turn. Luckily, we managed to draw some pretty interesting cards ourselves. We definitely want to use the Dark Sword Magician since it saves us 2 monsters, whereas a KoG would only be worth 1. So even though it is online, we are going to go ahead and special summon Dark Sword Magician, get it out onto the field right away. And we already have the Aim Eagle, so we don't need to use our skill to get a second one. Let's bring in Aim Eagle and Paku-Chu. Or we could keep the Paku-Chu for later. Since Light Sorcerer is only a 300 debuff, crashing into the Dark Sorcerer is not a super helpful play. So if we keep the Paku-Chu, we can have the extra resource for later, potentially. So let's go ahead and Aim Eagle. Send these two away. But I don't think we want to keep the Paku-Chu in hand either. We're going to go ahead and set it face down on the field. But if it survives, I think it provides more value than anything else. Let's definitely beat over the 2 boss monsters and leave the Dark Sorcerer around. It's only 100 extra damage, and turning off the potential for Witch to special summon the Magician is worth 100 life, for sure. Awashi, though, immediately draws into the second copy of Witch, and that means 7th Axel Road is live. Not only do they get to buff Witch up to 2400, but with the skill, they can return a card from their hand into the deck and bring out the 3rd copy of 7-Sword Magician. Unfortunately, this means Witch is going all the way up to 2800 attack, and it is going to be able to clear both of my boss monsters. So it really depends on if they have another monster They can also clear out the Pakachu, which is unfortunate. And it's actually the best one they could have found, Magician's Valkyria. With a face down card as well, I am worried about running into a Widespread Ruin and losing the game. However, the biggest issue is that 7-Sword Magician can't even be attacked unless I get another card able to deal with the Magician's Valkyria first. We don't have anything of value here, so I think we have to just set 3 and pass. I'm going to keep the Silver Wolf around, as debuffing is sure to come in handy when I get the chance. End turn, and let's see what Arashi has in store. Oh, welcome Travis, and thank you for the support. We see another face down card going onto the field, and unfortunately, with 2 traps now, I feel we are in a lot of danger of getting hit by a Widespread Ruin. We see 2 Tough Strikers, which is not great. We clearly don't have the methods to deal with more than 1. So let's Ultimate Bond, show off the Tough Striker, and then return the other one into the deck. I don't think the Shield and Sword is really worth it here. We could theoretically extend with the Silver Wolf to try to clear over a 7-Sword Witch, but like I said, the odds of a Widespread Ruin are so high, I don't think it's worth getting super aggressive about things. Let's just summon the Tough Striker, set the Silver Wolf, and see if we're able to get anything going from here. Of course, they do have the Widespread Ruin, and that is probably going to be just game. With only 1 monster on our field, we are just opened up to way too much of a threat. Barrier not on there. But as you can see, this is 4,600. Okay, so we have 2 Aim Eagles in the graveyard. So I am going to put 1 back, as if we draw a boss monster now, we can bring out a 3,500 attack point monster, which is our chance to get back into the game. Acebreaker and Pakachu. This might be everything we needed to turn things around. Let's go ahead and Shield and Sword. Then, we definitely need to Pakachu here. Let's put another copy of it back into the deck. After this, we can return the Silver Fang to our hand. And then we have 3 low-level monsters, which are going to be turned into the Acebreaker and the Tough Striker. Okay, so we Aim Eagle, and we can get rid of anything we want. I'm going to choose the Pakachu, as if the game goes on another turn, being able to actually use the effect again would be really nice. So we go there, Aim Eagle and Avant Wolf, activate the effect, and we're bringing in a 3,500 attack point Acebreaker. After this, it is time for Silver Fang and Silver Wolf. We need to hit over the Magician's Valkyria, so there's no reason not to debuff it. Next up is the Tough Striker. Tribute Summon here, and we can battle. Swing in. 1,900 puts them at 1,800. Unfortunately, this is only a 1,500 damage swing, so we have to take out the 7-Sword Magician. And we pass. We do have 2,500 monsters on the field, and all 3 copies of 7-Sword Magician are in the graveyard. They're going to need a recovery force if they want to be able to beat over both of these. Presumably. Let's see what they have in store. I am reasonably confident that the face down card is some sort of spell. Unless it's a recital, in which case they wouldn't have been able to use it, as we had to, we never actually attacked their final monster. Here comes the recovery force, and that's going to give them a 25% chance to find the 7-Sword Magician. So, it is pretty low. It definitely happens more than you'd think. Mystic Dealer number 2 is coming in, giving them another 3 out of 11 chance to find a magician. Will they do it? It all comes down to this turn. But they enter the battle phase, and Arashi ends up suiciding on the last moment. We will send them an ice, and we managed to get a great comeback. As you can see, we went through all of those boss monsters. Having the second copy of the structure deck significantly has improved our win rate. Let's head into the next battle. And we are up first. Solid opening hand. 2 low-level beasts to set up the Pikachu for the future. And even an Amigal. But the Amigal is probably the card we're going to have to get rid of here. Well, actually, we have a Dark Sword Magician. So we want to set the Pikachu as it's unlikely to be useful if we're summoning the Dark Sword Magician instead. This will allow us to have a Dark Sword Magician plus Amigal turn if we draw a level 7 boss and another light monster. We see them go for a 7-sword witch, and it looks like it is another 7's Axel Road player. Interestingly, I don't think this deck is that good if you're not spending money on multiple copies of the structure deck. It is probably a little bit better than what we are running, but the deck is definitely overinflated on the ladder. People are seeing it be super popular, and even though they themselves haven't spent the money on it, they are going for it anyway. Okay, so Pikachu somehow actually survived and is live. So I think we are just going to go for it. I haven't actually done the math here, but I see we have 2 level 7s, so presumably as many monsters as we can get is going to be a useful thing. Bring out the Silver Fang, and Dark Sword Magician is coming in next. Then, Dark Magician itself will come out, bring 2 2500 monsters onto the board. And here we go with the All-Seeing White Tiger. Now, it is worth noting my opponent didn't play their last card, so they may already have a 7-sword Magician in hand, or a level 6 monster, which they can use on this turn to search out the 7-sword Magician with the skill. So, definitely wouldn't say we're in a dominating position. Despite how good our board looks, it's very easy for the opponent to actually overcome this. It's entirely possible that Dark Sword Magician was the card in their hand, and with 2 copies, they are going to establish an incredibly strong board. Our only real out is to use our Amigal, but without the extra space on board, I'm not sure we're even going to be able to. A card like Light Sorcerer is not quite strong enough. So obviously what we want to draw here is a boss monster, and we get it. Okay, let's see what we can do. I have the play. Let's go with Ultimate Bond. We are going to return Tough Striker. Well, that's fine. I can show it to them and then return it anyway. After this, the Amigal comes down and Avant Wolf. And we can special summon the Acebreaker with 3500. 1, 2. Acebreaker's effect guarantees that even if they have a widespread ruin, we are able to get in for 2500, which is definitely worth it. Let's blow up this monster and see if we are not able to just swing in for game. They had a spell card face down, and that is going to be doing it. Yeah, I agree. They probably did brick a little bit there. Either way, I am going to send them the nice, and we will head over to the next battle. Starting things off with a 2-win streak. Hopefully, we can get to 5 real quick, and it'll be a short stream. We hit King of Games, and then I will save the replays and make a video about it. But I won't count our chickens too early. Winning 3 more games in a row is going to be difficult. We actually did fight Joseph earlier. Interesting to see that they are also still on the ranked grind. Our opening hand has a couple of tough strikers, so I guess we actually want to see them summon down a Yami Ruler so we can bust right through it. However, we don't have another light monster in hand, so that plan would not be functional. Umegumi the Ruler Squad coming in. If they don't have a level 7, we are unable to use Aim Eagle's effect, unfortunately. Mystic Dealer also isn't going to be doing very much here. If they're ending on a lone Umegumi, the odds of a the odds of widespread ruin feel pretty high. Unfortunately, I don't think we really have the ability to play around it. Let's just go all in on them not having an out here. Battle, and Tough Striker swings in. We know they have a trap, but hopefully it is just barriers. We get through and hit for 1300. It is now Joseph's turn. Their final card, probably some kind of tribute monster as well. Or potentially a Black Dragon chick. But I wouldn't be running a Umegumi in the Black Dragon Rising version of the skill. Here comes Pakachu and Silver Wolf. Debuffing the Tough Striker would allow a ruler to clear it, but instead they go for my own Silver Wolf, which is a bit of a surprise. Perhaps they are going to use the Celerity skill to switch this to defense and then beat over it with the Silver Wolf. That would make sense. Or they can bring it in, beat Piercing Samurai, and keep it on the field to give a Kime Ruler piercing as it attacks over the Tough Striker. Okay, this play does make sense. And they get another back row. On the plus side, without the third monster, they aren't able to deal piercing damage. But I'd probably rather see another monster and take some damage here than to have to deal with a potential widespread ruin. Let's draw for turn. Pakachu. Unfortunately is not live. And 2000, this isn't looking great. To be completely honest. Ultimate Bond. So do we want the Aim Eagle? It would let us beat over the Kime Ruler. But it doesn't even seem that good. I guess it still has to ultimately be worth it though. Let's return one of the Pakachus into the deck. Then we'll bring in the 3500. Now, my idea here is we are going to set the shield and sword. We're not using it because it's not a ton of value, but we might be able to bait them into using a Dark Ruler Battle Slash to destroy the shield and sword over other back row. Let's swing in with Tough Striker. And here comes Dark Ruler Battle Slash, just as predicted. Shield and Sword gets destroyed, but against a Yami Ruler deck, it is really unlikely to have made a significant difference at any point in the game. So, welcome Stan. Basically, we added in the second copy of the structure deck. So we have another Aim Eagle, alongside the 2 new bosses, and we were able to get rid of the Rhino. I also took out the Karina Sparks, since I feel like our trap cards were not really getting that much use. Barrier is still going to be in the deck, as it is a way to recycle the Aim Eagle. But the rest of the deck is pretty much the same. Alright, they bring in a Yami Ruler. And like I was saying, 2500, 2500, we don't get any value out of playing down a Okay, this is actually pretty interesting. So, we are going to Silverwolf and Tiger, and this is going to trigger the effect here to debuff you. Then we are going to Torna, and instead of summoning Torna plus Dark Magician, we're actually going to use Torna's effect so our Dark Magician does not fall to a Battle Slash or Barrier. Let's bring in Dark Magician, and of course, if they do have the Widespread Ruin, as always, it is incredibly threatening, but we just don't have any way to deal with that in the deck. The plan here is if they use a Dark Ruler Battle Slash or a Barrier, I am not going to lose my Dark Magician. I will just take 200 damage and get to keep my boss monster a round and protect itself from a boss on the next turn. And as you can see, it did happen. Hopefully they aren't able to summon any more boss monsters and are forced to trade their boss into my Dark Magician, leaving them with a vulnerability going into the next turn. If they do manage to summon and Celerity, then we are in a bit of a pickle. I believe we have already gone through both of our Aim Eagles, so clearing the Yami Ruler is going to be pretty difficult, especially knowing that they are backed by so many trap cards, and the flow never stops. We can potentially beat over the Umegumi, but I feel like there is still a Widespread Ruin lurking around the corner. As the deck gets lower and lower, the odds continue to go up. We do see Ace Breaker, but unfortunately Ace Breaker is not going to be enough. If we had drawn another monster, we would have been able to get there. Let's bring in Pakachu. We need to use the effect. Pakachu going back into the deck on the bottom. Then, Tiger. And Ace Breaker is next. 1 and 2. Let's throw down 2 copies of the Barrier. And unfortunately, Umegumi is able to debuff our Ace Breaker by 500 points, so we have to attack it. I think we do put in the Tiger here, and we see what happens. At some point, they are inevitably going to have the Widespread Ruin, and that'll probably just end the game. But here is a Phantom Bind. Surely that is not going to be enough. 400 debuff, and let's see what Joseph pulls out next. We have seen that this is indeed a bit of an unconventional build, but there should still be 2 Yami Rulers and a Kime Ruler somewhere in here. Running 3 Umegumi is incredibly unconventional, but it appears to be working, as Ace Breaker is going to defensive mode and they are going to be able to debuff it, but they choose not to, as perhaps they realize they don't even need to. I can actually use the Barrier here if I would like to, and that is able to put in another Ace Breaker, it's able to put the Aim Eagle back into the deck, and I think that is probably worth it. Let's go ahead and return Aim Eagle. And then do we return the Ace Breaker as well? I think so. We want to maximize our chance of being able to clear this opponent's board. And use Ace Breaker's effect. We draw for turn. We're looking for Ace Breaker plus Pakachu. We don't quite get there. However, Ultimate Bond is going to activate. Let's show them Ace Breaker. Return Barrier into the deck. Grab Aim Eagle. 1 and 2. Aim Eagle's effect activates. 1 and 2, and then we bring in a 3500 attack point Ace Breaker. Next, we activate the effect, and Yami Ruler is simply destroyed on the spot. With this, we can make an attack on the Umegumi. And here is the Widespread Ruin. They already have 1700 damage on board, so I'm not thinking we have much of a chance here. 5 cards left in deck, but all they need to do is normal summon some monsters, and it is over. That is game. we did our best. But this is going to reset us back down to 0 wins. We need 5 in a row if you want to hit King of Games. So, there's definitely a lot of work to be done. But I think this deck is certainly good enough to get there. Let's queue into the next one. Bum, bum, bum. Alright, and we are up first. Not looking like a great hand. Hopefully we're able to find another low-level monster. Aim Eagle is not the one we want to see getting sent away this early, but that is fine. We're able to summon the Tough Striker, and if my opponent doesn't bring out a Heavy Metal, maybe we'll be able to stay safe. Neighbor says there's a reason that only went for KoG once in the dueling career. Yeah, it is definitely a arduous climb if you aren't having fun with the game. Luckily, I do enjoy the challenge I've set for myself, and on previous months when I'm using actually good decks, I've been able to do it without too much trouble. But here comes a Royal Level Growl, debuffing me all the way down to 1100. They set up a board and are going to run me over. I could use a barrier here, but I don't want to. I'd rather keep it around for later, in case it actually does end up mattering. We see a Dark Sword Magician, but unfortunately we aren't going to be able to use it. We also see a Pikachu, and once again, we are not going to be able to use it. So all we can do is summon out our board normally. Though, there is an argument to keep Pikachu on the board so that a Royal Level Heavy Metal only gains 100 attack and is unable to clear the Dark Sword Magician. Unfortunately, since it's in attack mode, I think that's a little bit too risky. So we are going to be in Dark Sword Magician and the 2 Magic Jugglers. Welcome, Sarah. Hope you're having a good day. I'm going to enter the battle phase and swing into the Royal Level Growl. We clear out the board and pass it over. With the barrier in tow, we should hopefully be able to protect at least one of these 3 monsters. Royal Level Growl does cap out at 1800, so Magic Juggler would be good enough. Oh, we actually see our opponent went second, so Royal Level's Heavy Drive is incredible here, providing just a free level 5 monster, making Heavy Metal's requirement basically non-existent. One of my monsters is going to be getting destroyed, and the Heavy Metal is gaining 1400 attack, more than enough to clear the Dark Sword Magician. However, I don't think they're going to be able to clear the Magic Juggler alongside it. I will eat the damage and head to the next turn. Our move. We draw another Aim Eagle, and unfortunately, this is looking rough. I think our best play here is simple. We just set monsters and end. If we are able to survive for long enough, we can draw into Shield and Sword and then reduce this monster down to 0 attack and make our counter push then. If they bring out another one, it'd be like having a full ability to directly attack everything on the board. Alright, they bring in a Rocker. And there is an argument here to shuffle in the Tough Striker, but I'm not going to. We draw a Tough Striker anyway. So, we have the option to make a push. We could bring in Aim Eagle, summon the Tough Striker at 3500. But then if we get hit by the barrier, we are in a bit of a tough bot. Alternatively, I could try stalling until we draw the shield and sword. I think that is probably the better play. So, let's set, set, and set. Pass turn. Eventually, they may play into their own downfall. Here comes a summon skull. Unfortunately, that is a monster with some defense points. And there is a good case for using a barrier there. Okay, here we go. Shield and sword is set. All we need to do is wait one more turn. That way we get maximum access to our cards. End turn. We will use a barrier this turn for sure, as putting the amiable back is going to enable our skill. Let's go ahead and activate the barrier. Back into the deck it goes. Amiable, see you later. So, as long as we draw any boss monster, we can make a huge push here. But we do not. So I'm kind of inclined to just wait even more. Set. 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 And end. Unfortunately, they are not overcommitting. I'd really like to see them start flipping some monsters up. No, we are keeping the barriers on board for maximum value. Okay, we have a ton of cards now. Shield and sword. Activate the skill here. We reveal Acebreaker, and we're going to return one of our barriers to get the most number of monsters that we can. Pakachu is coming in, as is Amigal. Activate the effect of the Amigal, 1 and 2, and we bring in an Acebreaker. 3,500. Flip Juggler. And then Silverfang as well. Now, unfortunately this is not game. Do we bring in a second Acebreaker? I think not. As having just one monster on board after the Widespread Ruin is a bit of an issue. So, let's just do it. Battle phase. Widespread Ruin, of course. Let's clear the heavy metal. Unfortunately, our big play did not work out. They have a barrier, so we can go ahead and call this game over. But they've also had that Widespread Ruin on board for so long that we definitely would have lost the game had we made a push either. I'm pretty sure it was a no-win situation. Bum, bum. Here comes the heavy metal, and they can destroy the Silverfang and swing in for an exact lethal of 3,700. Looking good. Why did I use Acebreaker's effect? The idea was, if I use Acebreaker's effect, I can destroy the Summon Skull, but then I couldn't deal damage by attacking it. And if they survived the turn, I only had 5 cards left in deck, so I was going to need to have a boss monster in hand So ditching my other Ace Breaker and Tough Striker would have left me unable to actually make a play on the next turn. Alright, so we are up first. Interesting draws. I guess this is good enough. Losing out on multiple Pikachu early is always an issue, but maybe we can make something happen. We do have Shield and Sword, so if Slayer does not actually hit it, we'd be able to reduce their monsters' attack points significantly. Dragius is coming in, and that is actually their only monster. And they miss my second Pikachu. So we have all the resources we need to make a big play. Let's start with Pikachu. Activate the effect. Return to deck and add Tiger to hand. Activate the skill and show them Ace Breaker. Oh, and they concede immediately. We were going to be able to destroy the Dragius for free and get in for near lethal damage, if not just game. So after a loss, we are back on it. 4 more wins to go. Bum, 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 bum. Alright, we are against Yuhi themselves. Another Gavin. I guess we were able to do it last time, so hopefully we'll be able to beat them again. With this hand, I am predicting a swift loss. Though, we do have access to Ultimate Bond, so we can switch out one of our high-level monsters for a low-level one. As long as we draw a low-level monster next turn, we can at least bring something out. Magic Juggler. Activate skill. Reveal. Return this to the deck. Get a low level. 1. 2. We definitely want to get rid of the Torna. And maybe we actually just keep the Tough Striker in hand. Okay. This will be a slightly better board than having just an Ace Breaker. We are against Blue Falcon Formation. Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just running the Celtic Guardian to combo with their barriers. By keeping the Tough Striker in hand, we can actually grab the other Aim Eagle on the next turn. Though, of course, Kime Ruler is now, going to be dealing more damage. That said, Celerity would have put this Tough Striker into defense mode anyway. So I don't mind it. We do have a barrier here. But I don't think using it is necessary. And I'd actually much rather them spend an extra card on Hammer Crush to get rid of it, as that is now 1 fewer trap I need to deal with this game. So, next turn, we can bring in the 3500 with Aim Eagle's effect. We draw the Aim Eagle, so we're not going to be using the skill here. But that is fine. 1 and 2. And then activate effect. And I'm going to keep the... Well, actually, I am going to go ahead and bring in Ace Breaker and use the effect. I was considering whether or not to summon the Magic Juggler, but Juggler isn't able to beat Celtic Guardian. So, no need. I can just swing in this way. And they did draw a trap card. But it is not the Widespread Ruin, so we are able to keep on going. I think once they find it, we are going to be in some trouble. But if they go a couple of turns without a boss monster, we'll be able to establish a slightly better board. They start by setting, but will they be tribute summoning afterwards? Alright, they end here. And this is our chance to not lose to the widespread ruin immediately. We're gonna set this one for sure. And then I'll go for a slightly weaker end board by using Mystic Dealer in the hopes of drawing a boss monster instead. Okay, that's fine too. Summon this, and then, what are the odds of a 1400 defender? It seems low. So let's attack with the tiger. They have a barrier, sure. But I'd much rather them use it here than on something like Acebreaker attacking into a boss. Mystic Dealer is unable to clear it, so we do have to swing in with Acebreaker next. And they have Dark Ruler Battle Slash, but that is not going to be able to destroy a back row. Which means their hand must be bricked on it. We hit him for 1,000. And we'll see how it goes into the next turn. Unfortunately, the Shield and Sword is probably not going to be super helpful, especially if they're running cards like Celtic Guardian over the 1500 Masaki. Okay. Setting a card is kind of what we're expecting. Shield and Sword makes sense as well. But here comes Masaki. They actually were running it the whole time. So, with 2 Aim Eagle in the graveyard, I think we do want to put one back. Okay, I can barrier here. We will be returning Aim Eagle, and with Acebreaker's effect, this might actually just be game, as we can destroy this and swing in directly. Let's go ahead and activate Acebreaker. Definitely sending this one away, and this one. Pop this, summon you, set a card, and we are ready to go in. If they don't have Widespread Ruin, this is a clean slate. And Yuhi goes down to the might of Acebreaker. I'll go ahead and send them a nice and move on to game number 3. Can we do it? Alright, here comes Rue Kaints. And we are going second. No boss monster is rough here. Maybe we'll be able to draw into something on our turn. But right now, it is looking like a set 4 and pass. They have set 4. They have the full set 5. Maybe it is actually worth trying to attack. We will keep the Aim Eagle for later. And we just don't want them to really have access to 10 cards on their turn. Unfortunately, Doriato is unable to be defeated, and Magician's Valkyria is pretty strong too. Our play gets punished. We only managed to take out 1. We take 600 damage, and now we're super vulnerable to a counterattack. So, what will they be doing? Dealer. Okay. They are looking for high-level monsters, so maybe their hand is not that good. Torna. And it becomes a 2400. Okay, they are using the effect. Probably so the Doriato is able to clear. They set another card face down. And this is interesting. They start here, but now Magician's Valkyria is actually unable to clear as we can use our barrier. If they had sequenced it a little bit better, they would have been able to avoid this fate. Valkyria should have attacked first, and then Doriato could clear the defense mode monster. You'd want to do that one last, to play around Recital as well. We draw a Dark Sword Magician, but not much we can do with it. I think we have to bring it out, though. 1, 2, then Dark Sword. 1, 2. Throw down the barrier. We're gonna set a card. Unfortunately for us, Widespread plus Curtain is gonna be game. But what are the odds that they have both of them? It seems fairly low. We're swinging in with the Dark Sword Magician first, of course. And they are thinking. I wonder what they are thinking about. If you have the widespread, it's a pretty clear KO. At least if you ask me. Now we know they do have a trap card. Do we give up the tiger to deny the trap for later? I think the answer is yes, as we do have a 2500 attack point monsters that are going to be trying to clear out 7-zone magicians later in the game. And we can't really afford for them to be keeping their back row ready for that situation. So we give up the tiger here just to protect our future pushes. I'm pretty sure both of those cards are less impactful. Stuff like Recovery Force. At most, they have one more trap. Okay, here comes Witch, unfortunately. So we are in danger of taking a pretty big hit here. $2,800. Now the thing is, can we survive? I think we should have just enough health to do so. We see a Ghost Cyclone going down. Maybe that's what they're holding on to, and we just have never been able to clear their back row. Of course, at this point, they should have plenty of elements in the grave. So as a magician, buffing up all the way to 3,600. We will take 11. And we have just barely enough to survive the hits. Let's see what we draw. I guess Shield and Sword, Pocket Pikachu, some kind of big crazy play is our best option. Unfortunately, we do not get there. With only 200 life points, Barrier is not going to be enough to save us. So, let's use our skill. Ultimate Bond. Reveal Acebreaker, and we're going to put back this barrier. We grab Ameagle. Juggler. Aim Eagle into Acebreaker. Special summon. And activate the effect. We'll ditch these two. Let's pop these 7-zone magician, of course, and then put a face down card. Though actually putting this face down means we now lose to a Torn of the Windweaver. Oh wait, but we already did because 1600, of course, gets buffed to 24. Oh, maybe I could have used the 1500 to try to trade in the Dark Sorcerer, but then I would lose to a barrier because I only have 200 life points. Yeah, I agree with Stan. It probably isn't widespread, or they would have just popped it and won the game. So our goal here is for them to not draw into any boss monsters. A 1600 7-zone Witch only goes up to 2400, so that would be okay. But anything else is going to be lethal, for sure. And I'm pretty sure they have plenty of 7-zone Magicians in deck. So they drew the Witch, but do they have the Magician? That is the question. And they do. Or at least a Dark Magician to buff the 7-zone Witch up to 2800. It is Dark Sword Magician. Oh wait, but that's not enough to buff. Unfortunately, that is enough to clear. Maybe instead of using Acebreaker's effect, I needed to set 2 monsters to protect myself. But in any case, we are going back down. The new list is doing significantly better, but 5 in a row is probably still going to be a struggle. That said, if we look at the, we keep getting like 2, 1 loss, and then 2. So all we need to do is turn that 1 loss into a win, and 2 separate 2-win streaks becomes a 5-win streak. So it is indeed possible. All we need is a little bit of luck, and we are going to hit King of Games eventually. It is inevitable, as long as we try enough. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so they are up first. We do have access to Acebreaker, but I'm not sure how great that is. We could also go for a Torna play to try to swing in for some damage. Let's draw for turn. Tiger, sure. Dealer, and then I think we're gonna go Torna. And then instead of using Torna's effect to push for damage, let's just try to actually clear out the opponent's monsters. Oh, welcome, and thank you, Samuel, for the follow. Let's go ahead and battle phase. Swing in, and hopefully they don't have a 1400 defender. Pakachu and Currybot. This is definitely an aggro deck. And Gazelle should confirm they are not on 7's Axel Road. It technically could still be a Magician's Shuffle list, but we see a Hammer Crush deal coming out immediately. Okay. What will they do? We know the face down is Hammer Crush, so we don't have to worry about it being a trap card, but we do have to worry about actually setting up any protection with our barrier. That said, making them discard a card could always be good. They are running every advantage engine imaginable, and Barrel Dragon is coming in. They whiff, which is always nice, but they set another face down card. Okay. This is okay, I think. If they want to clear my board, they are going to end up with a blank spot themselves. Sorry, Saul, I do not speak Spanish. Alright, so we see the Barrel Dragon, but we are able to grab an Amigal. All we need to do is draw a light, low-level monster. Well, we drew one, but it's not quite what I was hoping for. Let's show them the Acebreaker, and then return Shield and Sword into the deck. We are unfortunately going to need to summon out both of our Acebreakers here to get the effect off. Another monster would have been great, as this runs the risk of Widespread Ruin. And getting hit by the Widespread Ruin and leaving the Barrel Dragon on board for another turn would be disastrous. Luckily, we are able to at least clear the Barrel Dragon, so their face-down card is probably a barrier. We know they have the Hammer Crush, so this barrier is not going to be doing anything, but I would rather lose a barrier than my Shield and Sword. Hammer Crush discarding a Ghost Cyclone. Always funny to see people running both of them, but when you have all 3 advantage engines in your deck, I suppose it does work out. We see a Gazelle, so presumably a boss monster is coming in. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it is Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius and not an Ancient Arise Dragon. I thought for sure it was going to be something able to clear the Acebreaker, but forcing a trade, I will gladly take 1500 to be facing down a lone Gazelle. We see Dark Sword Magician, but unfortunately, it's not going to be doing anything here, as the Dragius did go away. We have 2 copies of Silverwolf, so let's go ahead and debuff this Gazelle. 1 and 2. Tiger. And I guess Dark Sword Magician is the weaker of the options to bring out. Oh, but Acebreaker could be so good at actually destroying something on the next turn. But still, I think this is probably the right play. Let's go in here and battle. And of course, they did draw the Widespread Ruin, so now we are ruined. Barrier, Widespread Ruin, and it is done. Our board unable to keep up. All they need to do is summon any boss monster, and they'll have enough damage to clear this game. Dragius number 2 comes down, and that's it. Unfortunate. I really thought we had something going there. And our hand on the last turn wasn't like that bad. It's just very difficult for us to clear Widespread Ruin. Okay, we went with a ton of spell and traps here, and Dark Magician. Maybe we will be able to summon out our boss monster and actually keep it safe. But of course, we are not that fortunate. We draw another copy of the barrier. So our best bet here is that they will not draw any boss monsters, and we'll be able to somehow sit here and face tank with the Juggler. Though I can't imagine this actually working out for us. We see a Gazelle already. We know things are going south. Without any monsters in the graveyard, we can't even use the barrier to protect ourselves. Alright, let's just go ahead and concede. Unfortunately, we are in a bit of a loss streak here. But maybe that means we're just gonna get all of the losses out of the way before we get our road to victory. Bum, ba, 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 bum. Okay, so we are up first and actually do have the ability to summon a boss monster. With only 2 level monsters in hand, I do think this is necessary. Let's go ahead and bring out the Tough Striker. Of course, against a Roa, this is always just game. If they heavy metal and swing in for 5,000. But we have to do what we can. Alright, and we see, what are they going to summon? Thunder the Thunder. Okay, so they are probably going to be able to beat over us, unfortunately. We don't have a barrier here. But this is certainly an interesting position. Are they going to use both effects to try to play around the barrier? Turns out the answer is no, and they are going to be massively rewarded for it. Oh, they can actually Gravity Press. Okay. They discard a card and get way more value. Unfortunately, we are going to be losing our Tough Striker here. Bum, bum, bum. bum, 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 bum. Okay. We don't take all that much damage, so we are going to be able to keep on going. We draw for turn. Unfortunately, we don't have a vanilla in the graveyard, but we are going to be able to activate our skill, grabbing a Aim Eagle. What do we return? I think we just want to fill our board with monsters. So let's go here. And now we have 4 low levels, which is perfect. Aim Eagle comes down. But I misplayed. I overlooked that I was not actually able to use the effect. I needed to use Shield and Sword so I could actually clear the monsters. Unfortunately. So this is a massive mistake, which is going to cost us. Let's get rid of Tough Striker and Magic Juggler. We can destroy the Summon Skull and Avant Wolf. This means we're going to be dealing 2,500 damage and be able to get in. So I'm not using the Widespread Ruin because Widespread Ruin is part of a bundle. The cards that I'm using here are all either free to obtain or do not require opening any packs to obtain. The Widespread Ruin is a guaranteed pull, but opening the Widespread Ruin bundle means I'm opening 17 packs, which ends the challenge. Which is to hit King of Games without pulling on the gacha a single time. I do agree, you should obviously have Widespread Ruin if you're not doing a silly challenge run. Yeah, the 2 flag 2,500 vanillas plus the Dark Magician does mean a lot of my high end is not very powerful. But without them, I wouldn't have enough boss monsters. As you can see, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high-level monsters plus a Torna. We see a heavy metal coming in, but fortunately it wasn't able to actually use the effect, so we're only taking a little bit of damage. I believe we do still have an Aim Eagle, so if we get another boss monster, we should be good to go. This is good enough. Let's special summon the Dark Sword Magician and Silver Wolf so we can debuff it. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to clear the Kanon, but getting rid of the heavy metal is certainly progress. Okay, let's see what they do. There is actually an argument that I should have just set the Tiger, and Dealer, saving the Silver Wolf for later, where I would actually be able to break the board. As now, if they play another heavy metal down, 1,300 plus 100 plus whatever else they have is going to be enough to end the game. I would say hopefully they didn't draw a boss monster, but we see with Pock Pikachu and Thunder the Thunder coming onto the field that they definitely have something. So let's see what it is. Gravity Press Dragon. Okay. By the way, do we even know what skill they're on? I feel like they haven't actually activated anything. Yeah, they haven't used a skill this entire game. It's like a weird aggro list, but with heavy metal in it. But while these gravity presses, are they trying to play around specifically the Dark Sword Magicians? If so, I do think that is pretty interesting. Maybe they are on Legend Draw, and they just had the Summon Skull a little bit too early to use it. Okay. They are battling without clearing Dark Sword Magician. As long as we aren't dying here, this is a huge chance to turn the game around. They do have a mysterious back row, and we of course have not seen a Widespread Ruin yet. But, if we simply hope enough, we might be able to get there. We're gonna set some cards, and then what? I mean, we could try to beat things up and trade, but I am kind of worried our life points are going to be so low that they just debuff the Avant Wolf and kill us. I mean, if it's widespread and if it's barrier, we're going to lose a monster that way. So we have to hope that it is barrier rather than like a widespread. We do have an Amigal still around, so I want to go this way. If it's widespread, it's widespread. Alright, we get in for 1,000. Leaving them with 2 monsters on board. Oh, and Hammer Crush Deal is coming in. Finally revealing the skill. Okay. They are running low on cards in deck, but with an extra card from the Hammer Crush Deal this turn, the odds of finding a boss monster is pretty high. And Shield and Sword, bringing me down to 1,500, is also pretty threatening. Something like a Dragius is going to be enough, or just a regular 2,500 is currently swinging in for 1,300 damage, thanks to the Thunder debuff. So, what will they do? Are they able to clear me out this turn? Or will I get another shot at it? Here comes Dragius, the card we were afraid of. Activate the effect. They can now attack twice. And here comes another monster. If they have 2 low-level monsters, then it's so over. They even have the Seahorse Carrier to fuel a Hammer Crush, removing one of my barriers. Of course, this is where having a bunch of barriers instead of Widespread Ruin is kind of removing me from the game. This is already a 1,300 swing, so there's nothing I can do. We have to barrier to not die here. But with 4 attacks, and with us at under 700 life points, that is all they wrote. But I am confident we will be able to get back on our feet sooner rather than later. Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 bum. Okay, let's have them be nice. And we will keep it up. I want to, if we lose one more, we'll be at loser of games. Gotta get the 5 loss streak for the special title. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Okay, they are up first. We have an Acebreaker, so if they go on an offensive play, we might be able to punish them. They do not. We get an okay hand. I think it is probably worth bringing in the Acebreaker here, and we'll pair it with the Magic Juggler just because it has the most attack. So I can survive against opposing All-Seeing White Tigers. Enter battle, and is their face down card going to be... It's Barrier. I'm 95% sure. So, what will Roki do? And we can see here, this is another player running both Aqua and Beast packages. generating all the extra cards they need. Fortunately, this Pocket Pikachu is not live. But the Silver Wolf is, and I don't have an actual trap card. I'm on a Shield and Sword right now, which is going to cause me some trouble. They managed to resolve a Seahorse Carrier here. Before bringing in Barrel Dragon. They hit the effect, and my Ace Breaker is gone. And Not Me is being proven very wrong. I very much have, the ability to lose this game. One Dark Magician, two. So I only have access to one Dark Magician one Dark Magician girl. Because the deck is not opening any packs, and the structure deck costs money. So I only have the one available to me. I could theoretically run it over the Torna. You know what? That seems fair. The Torna is not doing very much for me. It does out-drag Geass, though. Which is very nice. But sure. If we get rid of the Torna, we don't actually have any cards from the Volt Condor structure deck anymore, which does make it even cheaper. So I do like that aspect of it. Let's go ahead and add in this one, and we'll see what we can do. So Stan, I actually did build a deck very similar to the one that they're playing, where I used Kiribot, Pocket Pikachu, and Seahorse Carrier, and it's actually pretty strong. I recommend it for players who are trying to figure out what to fill their deck slots with. You're not really giving up a ton for the Kiribot spaces, for example. Right, yeah, it's in the set. Being in a set means I have to open packs, which is against the rules. I have no cards from boxes in this deck. Like, if you look at my deck builder, I do own all of the cards. But the point of the challenge is to not use anything from the boxes. Or money. Okay, so we can grab a... I can grab an Ameagle if I need it. But they're probably just going to be setting a bunch of cards and passing. So, I guess once again, this time we're going to bring in the Tough Striker. As if they have Widespread Ruin, I would rather lose a Tough Striker than an Ace Breaker. We know the middle one is a Hammer Crush, but we don't know anything about the other two cards. Presumably they do have some form of trap. By swinging with this one first, we prevent a barrier from stopping our wolf from taking out anything. Gazelle and Speedy Performer. A little bit unconventional, but Speedy Performer is a way to buff up cards like Dragius. They bring in Pocket Pikachu, but it is not live, as Speedy Performer is not a beast. So, I'm pretty sure 7-star does not have Widespread Ruin, but they do have a barrier on the right. Shield and Sword going in, and that is going to make my Tough Striker pretty vulnerable. All they need to do now is summon Dragius, and we are probably in a ton of trouble. They debuff this Avant Wolf all the way down to 0. But do they have the boss monster? They set another back row. We know Hammer Crush and Barrier. And here comes Prima Gatarna. Presumably they do have another monster here. Otherwise they wouldn't have debuffed the Avant Wolf over the Tough Striker. They could have dealt 200 extra damage, but I guess they chose not to. Not entirely sure what the plan was. Okay, check this out. I activate my skill. I will show Ace Breaker to the opponent. And then if I return this Avant Wolf into the deck, I can grab Oh, it doesn't quite work though. Because if I summon the Dark Sword Magician, I'd have 3 low-level monsters. I tribute 2 low-level monsters. Wait, does it work? I'd have 5 cards in hand. Then I'd have 4 cards in hand. Yeah, I think I'm only gonna have 1 card in hand afterwards. Oh, but I can play around the barrier. Okay. So, Avant Wolf. Back into the deck. Aim Eagle. Special Summon. Oh wait, I do have enough. So, we, Silver Wolf. Tiger. We don't need to debuff because we're going for a clean destruction. And here we go. Acebreaker activates the effect, discarding 2 cards to destroy Prima Gotarna. We enter battle phase and we potentially get in for 5,000 damage. But they have the Widespread Ruin. Unfortunately, we only hit for 2,500, but that is still a pretty good turn. I think it was the right play. Let's see what 7-star does. It's worth noting, another Prima Gotarna actually would not be able to deal with the Dark Sword Magician, as it would only go up to 2,500 itself. Unfortunately, they do have a Thunder the Thunder, and are going to be bringing the Dark Sword Magician down to 2,200. Which implies to me something like Dragius or Prima Gotarna, but this is fine. If they want to pay another 1,000 life points, they are going to be low enough where I'm starting to feel confident in my ability to close out the game. Let's see what we draw. 2 Silver Wolves. You see, and here, if this was Torna, we would actually just win the game. But unfortunately, we don't have the Dark Magician in the graveyard yet. So, 2,000, this goes down to 1,800, but we're pretty sure they have a barrier. So unfortunately, I think I am just going to be setting a bunch of cards and passing. End turn. We do have a barrier. What can I even do with it? I could put back an Aim Eagle or something like the Acebreaker. Putting back Acebreaker does sound like a pretty good plan though. They are down a Widespread Ruin, so swinging into anything weaker would be pretty good. Unfortunately, Prima Gotarna is coming in, and with Dragius, oh, and of course the Hammer Crush we already knew about from earlier. If they have another monster, we are taking a ton of damage here. Even if they don't use Prima Gotarna. We want them to, as it would be a misplay with such few life points left. Unfortunately, they do not. So, we take 2,500. But all we need to do is draw the combo. If we can summon a 3,500 attack point monster, we would have been able to do something. But with this, I don't think it's enough. If this Dark Magician was our Tough Striker or Acebreaker, we'd have a 3,500 attack point monster ready to swing into Gazelle. And we can't set him past because Dragius is 2,500 damage. Dark Magician can clear the Prima Gotarna, but then what? It's still not enough. That's game. The maximum cards really really depend on what the what skills they get. And if we get them on the limit 3 list or not. It's not possible to know until we get more details. Like, for example, the Harvey Maximum, if we are only getting 1 copy of all of the pieces, I don't think it's gonna do anything. They're like fine monsters, but with only 1, it's gonna be pretty tough to build a deck around it. Presumably, Yggdrago is gonna be in the box, but still getting enough consistency so that you're able to actually summon the Yggdrago could be difficult. We might get the Femtron series of cards to help dig through the deck, and some kind of skill that can add pieces to the hand, but we just don't know. If we do, it is definitely going to impact the meta, because some decks simply do not have a way to get over a 4,000 attack point monster. Something like this with Acebreaker can destroy it. Dragons have the Dragonic Pressure, of course. But some decks simply do not. They just cannot possibly boost high enough. So, a lot of stuff, the meta might be getting centralized, I guess is the point I'm making. We are going to bring in the Tough Striker and try to protect it with our barrier. This could very well be a Magician Shuffle deck, which has trouble getting over the 2,500 mark. So, well, coming in, I don't remember where they set. I simply do not. So I whiffed and missed a tribute monster, which is unfortunate. I was too busy looking at chat and reading the and thinking about the comments to notice which card got tributed. So of course here comes Torna, and we are going to be getting majorly punished for it. And of course, they even have the magical stream to shut down my barrier. Alright, we do see the Tough Striker going to defense mode, as expected. Okay. Yep, okay. And here comes the unfortunate Seven's Axel Road, boosting it up to 2,400 to clear my Tough Striker. So close to getting over it. We draw for turn. Do we want the other Aim Eagle? Like, does it even do anything? Yes. Okay. Let's activate Ultimate Bond and reveal Tough Striker. We will be returning Barrier, grabbing this, and while we aren't going to be able to use the effect, having 3 level monsters does mean we actually clear the board, which I think is a pretty important step of winning this game. Let's bring in Dark Magician Girl over here. And then Tough Striker as well. Unfortunately, we did just lose both copies of Aim Eagle, which means we don't have any 3,500 beaters coming down this game. Welcome, Robert. We are at like duel level 6 or something. I've only been doing the dailies, so I'm not super invested in the KC Cup. Alright, Mystic Dealer coming in. We still haven't seen any 7-Zone Magicians, so I am expecting a big play to be coming soon. Bum 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 bum. As expected, they are going to be bringing in a 7's Road Magician. But that alone is not going to be able to clear this board. So, we keep the Dark Magician Girl, and they don't have any back row either. If we manage to get a boss monster out, we can turn this game around. Here we go. Light Sorcerer. Magic Juggler. And the Light Sorcerer will be providing a 600 attack debuff. Then, Dark Sword Magician is coming down. And Avant Wolf follows it up. We are dealing 4,500 damage. And they have 4,700 life. Unless they manage to take us out on this turn, we should be fine. And yes, I am still playing the same Lunalight deck that I brought to the previous KC Cup. I think I've changed, like, actually no cards. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, 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 bum. Okay, they are going to be able to clear 2 of my cards, but that's not everything. We have a chance to get game if we swing into this Dark Magician Girl with a 2,500. However, we have yet to see a widespread ruin, and things could easily take a turn for the worst. It feels like such an obvious setup, but we also can't really afford to sit around and wait either. But maybe we can. Oh. I'm gonna go for it anyway. This is very reckless. Barrier. We actually bring them down to 100 and manage to clear the Dark Magician Girl. Okay. Can we take our first win in a while? They have 100 life remaining, but they set another card face down. We know they have at least one 7-Zone Magician in the deck, and Widespread Ruin is probably still somewhere. 7-Zone Witch. Bum, 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 bum. So, her recovery force is coming down. We're currently taking 1,100, but that's okay. The goal here is simply to swing over that witch for game. If we can draw 2 boss monsters, we can do it. As we would then be able to deal with Widespread Ruin. Okay. Another 7-Zone Magician is actually not that big of a deal. The card we are worried about is Torna or Piercing. I don't mind them clearing my board. I have plenty of low levels ready for action. 2 Silver Wolves. That can bring the 7-Zone Witch down to 1,200. And that's 100 damage. I'm pretty sure this works, unless the set card is specifically the Limit 1 Sword and Shield Trap. But I don't think it's going to be. I think we can do it. Two copies of Silverwolf. Reduce this. Reduce it again. Actually, even if it is the trap, we should be okay. Mystic Dealer, let's go. Swinging in for 100 damage. Can we finish this game? Widespread Ruin. It will destroy one Silver Wolf, but we have a second one. And that is game. Clutching a tight victory. I think they really should have put that witch in defense mode. But I did have some boss monsters left in the deck, so eventually I probably would have been able to draw something good. So, we are starting our win streak. After this, or the next time we lose, I am going to take a short break for water, etc. And I think it's probably about time we switch from Twitch and YouTube to just, well, I guess I'll keep streaming on Twitch a little bit longer as well. Once we go on break, we're going to call it a day for Twitch. But the YouTube stream will continue. Okay, we are up first, and we draw 2 Ace Breakers. Not great, but we probably do want to go ahead and just summon the Ace Breaker. Even though it does enable an opposing sword, or Dark Sword Magician. Now, should this Magic Dealer be in attack or defense mode? I'm going to set it, as a board of something like Witch and Magician would absolutely be able to run through us. Let's see what they do. They start by setting a card. And Shield and Sword, meaning they are going to be able to out this Ace Breaker. Oh, and here comes the Dark Sword Magician that I was talking about. However, it looks like they may have bricked. We draw an Aim Eagle. That's fantastic. Magic Juggler. Aim Eagle. Activate the effect. 1, 2. Special summon Ace Breaker. Then, activate the effect. We're taking out that Dark Sword Magician. Set this face down, and let's battle. We get in, and their trap card is probably a barrier. They do have 2 more cards in hand, so I think they do have some kind of tribute monsters that they weren't able to really do. Dark Sword Magician was kind of bricking them. Unfortunately, we don't have a barrier here, so a 2500 is going to be able to clear our Ace Breaker. Which Thunder the Thunder is setting up. There are also now 2 Dark Magicians in the graveyard. Dark Magician Girl is huge. A 3000 attack point monster could be coming in at any time. We see a Dark Magic attack, and Dragius goes in and gets in for 2800. Things are looking rough. Especially with a board like that. But things are not over yet. We activate Shield and Sword. Dragius is down to just 1500 attack. Then, Silver Wolf, Silver Wolf, Silver Wolf. Welcome, Beanie Matt. We are decreasing this Dragius down to 900. And this means, if their face down card is a barrier, our Silver Wolf is going to trade, and the other 2 will successfully attack in for a killing blow. We get our second win. Let's send them a nice and move on to game number 3. It's been a while, but it is our first win streak in about an hour. Can we ride this all the way? We lost something like 7 or 8 games in a row. And this is the Sevens world. So perhaps this is the trick we need in order to make a comeback. Okay. They start with a Mystic Dealer. which is a pretty interesting move since it means that they probably are going to be summoning a tribute monster. Which, and will they summon the Magician alongside it? Summons Axel Road, providing a pointless buff. You don't get to search until turn 4. 2 set cards though. This Dark Magician, if it runs into a Widespread Ruin, is not going to be able to clear the Witch. Shield and Sword. Do we use it here? The benefit of using Shield and Sword is that if they have the Widespread Ruin, we are still able to clear the Witch with the Silver Wolf, unless they have another trap card. Do we simply hope they don't have it though? I think that's probably the right play. Well, okay, hold on. We could bring it down to 800, which is enough to clear it through a barrier. Okay, so we need to use this. Let's go. We need to make sure we use the Silver Wolf to debuff the Seven's Road Witch. Luckily, we had the Pocket Pikachu in hand. Let's bring in Dark Magician. And then we want to play around a potential Recital by swinging in this way first. It does potentially lead to a trade with a Corona Sparks, but they go for the Widespread Ruin. We clear, and I would not say we are in a good position, but we managed to clear the Witch and keep a monster on board. Fire Golem is coming in. Okay. And here comes another Seven's Road Witch. Do they have the Magician this time? With only one fairly weak monster on board, a full combo might just be able to end the game. Here comes Magician. And I mean, even if we aren't dead here, I think we are going to be so low, making a reasonable comeback is going to be quite difficult. That's 4,800 damage in one turn. That said, we don't have to worry about any copies of wait, okay. We can't lose to a barrier. We have to Aim Eagle. And even though we can't use the effect, we can get Acebreaker's effect off. So, 1, 2, Tribute Summon, and unfortunately, this is the play we need to do to stay in it. We need them to not really draw into any method of dealing with this Acebreaker. And if that is the case, then we get a chance to continue playing the game. Let's destroy Seven's Road Magician and swing into the Witch. They do have a trap, and it's Recital. Alright, all we can do is end our turn here. Any boss monster ends the game immediately. Even a low level one allows them to search out Seven's Road Magician at this point in the game. But now, they immediately 7 Sorcery, bringing in a Seven's Road Magician. And with that, our win streak is going to be reset one more time. I am going to go grab some water, and we will be right back. And we are back. Let's send them a nice and try again. We will make it. I believe in me. It might not be today, but this is definitely a good enough deck. We will get there. Our first opponent will be, drumroll please, Zark. And we have fought them before. Perhaps I should have taken some notes on what their trap lineup was. But I definitely recognize the username, and them being Yuga makes sense, and the sleeves are familiar too. We are going first. Losing both aim eagles is rough, but we have to go for it. Here we go. Tough Striker and pass. Let's see what they do. Okay, an immediate Hammer Crush deal. Unfortunately, it's not like we have much choice. If we're losing 2 aim eagles, we're not going to be able to shuffle those trap cards we don't need away into the deck. But we do know they are on a generic aggro deck. Summon Skull is coming in, but that is okay with me. If they are actually crashing in, then they don't have a boss monster on their board to protect them during our turn. Let's see what we draw. Hopefully Tough Striker is going to be able to put in some work. The answer is no, not particularly, huh? I guess we do want to debuff just because we can. Go here. Make them discard a card next turn to get rid of our barrier. And swing. They do have a trap card. And it's widespread. We can go ahead and concede. And we will move on to the next one. I will say, I think this is the biggest issue. Is that everyone we fight is going to have widespread ruin, and we do not have access to it. In an average game, we're going to see at least half the deck, which means 50% of the time, the opponent is going to draw widespread ruin, and we're just going to basically lose the majority of those games. So winning 5 duels in a row is tough. We are playing now against a 40-card stall deck of some variety. Let's see what they have in store for us. They start immediately with a Dion Keto. And Fashion of Faith to draw another card. They find a back row and pass. Unfortunately, we have no real way to deal with this. So we are going to be setting 5 cards and ending our turn. Perhaps the Shield and Sword will be able to come in handy for us later. Let's find out. Okay. They are working with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards. And here comes Barrel Dragon with the triple heads. They are simply better at Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm gonna go ahead and just scoop this one up. So we can move into another game. I don't think that one's worth playing out. We weren't on a win streak, so we can just wait until we get into a good game. Here comes Juice, and what are they going to be playing tonight? Oh, they're on a rank up. I will absolutely concede to them. We've lost a couple games in a row. Let's get them to the next rank. Congratulations. I'll send them a nice so that they can rank up. They're now in a gold 3. Bum 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 bum. And they are first. We have a Dark Magician Girl as our only boss monster. And there's probably another game where we'd rather see a Torna. Unless they end on a Growl. And we can beat over 200. Okay. Obviously an attack position Babysitter Goat is not going to be doing much. It must be getting tributed off. And here comes Growl, as expected. However, if their set card is a barrier, we could be in trouble. Let's go here. Light Sorcerer, Magic Juggler. After the effect, we debuff this. Then Dealer. Bring in Dark Magician Girl. And then we can actually guarantee we take out both monsters. Well, unless it's widespread. It is a barrier, so they are going to be able to destroy our Juggler. But I'm okay with that. Let's take out Growl, and then clear Nessus. We are in a lot of danger. Obviously, a Heavy Metal is going to end the game immediately. But we are doing what we can. And this played around the barrier, so we were actually able to clear the Growl. Leaving them with a high-level monster on board to fill the Heavy Metal's condition for free is a bad plan. Okay, Summon Skull is unfortunate. And by being level 6, my Aim Eagle is still useless here. And of course we are taking an absolute ton of damage. We don't draw anything. They don't really have a lot of ways to deal with this, but I'll just give it to them. I will send them a nice. Let's duel. Bum 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 bum. Alright, a Luke. It actually feels like it's been a little bit since we played against them. Okay. This is not looking great. Set 4. Okay. I guess we can just set 5 and see how it goes. We'll play it out for a turn, and if they bring in, like, Dragius plus Twin Edge, then we can just scoop it up. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, Dragon's Inferno, destroying both of my barriers with a Slayer. However, this deck is vulnerable to Shield and Sword. If we manage to find one, we could turn the game around. We have Aim Eagle, but unfortunately no other light monster. So, I think we activate the skill. We will grab a Silver Wolf in the deck. Summon you. Aim Eagle. Flip Aim Eagle. Activate the effect. And we'll be bringing out an Acebreaker who's able to destroy Slayer for free, regardless of what traps they have set face down. Now, I think we need to be aggressive, and we will just assume they do not have widespread. We'll bring in the Silver Wolf, and we'll try to get in for some damage. I mean, they do have 3 trap cards, so the odds of this working is very low. I will go ahead and send them the nice. As you can see, a lot of these games do just come down to widespread ruin. Oh, welcome, Izuru. How are you doing today? Bum 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 bum. Okay. Acebreaker. I think we do need to bring it in. And then we will simply have it survive to the next turn with no protection. Bum 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 bum. Stardom Light. Okay, so the thing is, Prima Katana doesn't actually deal any damage through this. So, I don't mind. And we have Acebreaker on the board, which means, oh, we even have Ultimate Bond available to us. Okay. Let's go ahead and activate Ultimate Bond. We'll show this Acebreaker off and use Barrier back in the deck. Now, with 5 cards in hand, if we normal summon and summon again, we can activate the effect of Aim Eagle and then still have 2 monsters left over to destroy their monster for free before swinging in for 6,000 damage. Let's go ahead and see if we're able to claim this game. I'm doing okay. Been getting a little bit tilted from losing over and over, but we have a potentially good board this time. Unfortunately, they had the widespread, but this is interesting. They're playing Psychics on Yuga. What are they aiming for? Okay, so they're using Telepathic Agent's effect, potentially to attack directly, but much more likely to just be able to recycle that Prima Katana. We see a Berry Vases coming in, but that is not going to be strong enough. And with Widespread Ruin already out of the equation, we are in a pretty solid position. Let's go ahead and bring in a Tough Striker. I don't think I'm going to use Icebreaker's effect this time, as I want to actually establish a board. So we go here, and then Magic Juggler. And let's get going with combat. It's worth noting, as long as they don't destroy shield and sword, we are going to win eventually. All they need to do is play some attack position monsters, and the weak psychics will fall, as they almost all have 0 defense. Let's see what Yuga does next. I'm pretty sure they just have a barrier or something not that important. Okay, Romantic. For Prima Katarna, they could be making a big push, but with all 6,000 life points available, I should be okay. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. They're all boosted up, but the Silent Assailants actually aren't able to deal with Ultimate Flag Mech Tough Striker, which means on the next turn, we are going to get a huge crackback and should be able to finish this game. It's my move. I activate my face down card, Shield, and Sword. All of their monsters are now at 0. Let's go with Ultimate Flag Mech Tough Striker number 2. And a Magic Juggler for good measure. Battle phase, and goodbye oil. 1 game down, just 4 more lucky wins in a row, and we can do it. I will say, these are the kinds of decks I remember fighting in Silver, and as the month goes on, hitting King of Games should get easier. So, as long as things don't, so even if I'm not successful today, what I'm trying to say is that I will get there. We still have about 2/3 of the month left. Bum, 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 bum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Oh, thank you. Alright, we are up first, and we've drawn both Aim Eagles early on, plus 2 level 7 monsters. As always, this is a little bit concerning. I think, unfortunately, we have to summon the Tough Striker because 2 level 7s is just a little bit too much for me. So, Tough Striker, come on in. And turn. And we will see how this goes. They are setting a bunch of back row, which means they should be unlikely to be able to set up a full heavy metal combo. Grace Princess Kana for Growl. But Growl on its own cannot clear my Tough Striker. Ego goes down, but that's okay. It's my move now. I draw for turn. And here we go. Silver Fang. Dealer. Icebreaker. We can't use the effect to destroy the Growl for free, but that's okay. We have a secret weapon. Shield and Sword is our key to victory. Let's start by clearing this Growl. Even if they have Widespread Ruin, we're getting in for a ton of damage. Now, As long as they aren't able to kill us this turn, if they summon a field of their boss monsters with 0 defense, we will simply be able to run them over, inflicting full damage to Power's life points. And there we go, our second win. Let's keep up the momentum. 3 more games, and we are going to do it. This is the run, if we all believe enough. So, let's queue and see it happen. Alright, and we are first again. Always like to go first. Now, how do we actually want to do it? We have an Acebreaker, but I think we want to keep it this time. So, we can actually set up our Pakachu for the future. We have 1 Beast Effect Monster and a Beast Normal. Now, let's see what they do. Will Voni Vroman be able to do it or not? Obviously this board is probably going to get cleared unless they don't draw any boss monsters themselves, in which case we're going to have a ton of cards to work with. We see 2 traps and only 1 monster. So here is our chance to make a big push. Aim Eagle's not going to be able to be used, of course, but we can get rid of the 2 weaker monsters. Here we go. 1 and 2. Then we'll bring in Silverfang. And, I think we're going to go with the Tiger. We want to keep this for the debuff with Light Sorcerer. So, let's battle. Do we swing in with the Acebreaker first, or do we go with the Tiger? There is a pretty high chance of that being a 1400, so I think Acebreaker is going to be the one to take the attack Vanguard. Unfortunately, we miss out on a potential set of damage here, but their 2 face-down cards are both spells. Nothing was able to be triggered. That is interesting, but probably does mean I am going to get hit by the big Ghost Cyclone for a huge turn from Ronnie. Let's see what they do. I am a little bit concerned as we don't have any backup boss monsters and just a lone Acebreaker on board. That said, maybe they'll be on Aquas and play a bunch of monsters with 0 defense, letting our Shield and Sword somehow survive the turn and make a game-winning push. They set another card. Could this one be the Widespread of Ruin? Here comes a Grace Princess Kana, the 1400 defense monster I was worried about earlier, and Avant Wolf. What kind of deck are they running? Speed Reformer, Avant Wolf, Aquas. Here's Rightful Magic. That's able to debuff any monster on my field because they control 2 light monsters, and Acebreaker is probably going down then. Let's see their boss. It is Ancient Arise Dragon. We are fighting some kind of aggro deck, but we still don't really know what it is. We're hoping to draw any boss monster here, as we need to clear the spots in order to use Light Sorcerer's effect to its full potential. But we don't find it. That's a disaster. All we can do is set some cards and pass turn. Do we keep this Aim Eagle? I think we have to. So all we can do here is set a card and pass. Funnily enough, if we had chosen the Magic Juggler last turn, we would have been able to summon Light Sorcerer, debuff this down to 1000 attack, and make another good push. But since I summoned the Tiger instead, my field was too full. Here comes a Tough Striker, another light boss monster to work with that Rightful Magic they were playing earlier, and another 1600 defense stat line, meaning my Shield and Swords are not providing a ton of value here. However, I have a Pakachu set up. I have the Aim Eagle. We have a way to debuff all of their monsters. If we can get some good cards in hand, we can make a real push. But unfortunately, it is going down in a much different way. I think we have to keep the Pakachu and simply end here. We do have a barrier. We could recycle an Aim Eagle. Or the Acebreaker itself. But I don't think activating anything is correct. I would like to just keep things the way they are. Bum, 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 bum. Here comes Ancient Arise Dragon. I'm not sure why they're milling, though. Like, there's no reason to get another card into your graveyard at this point. Bum, ba, 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 bum. Okay. The Summon Skull? It is. But that's fine. This is a board we can clear with enough dedication. Shield and Sword is... holds the power of victory. If we can just get there. Okay. So... Pakachu could be used here. And then what? We don't have a boss monster to summon off of it. So... do we just set the barrier? I think so. I think this is the play. We are holding out for a miracle turnaround. I am absolutely putting the Aim Eagle back into the deck this turn, though, as I need to be able to not brick on a billion high-level monsters on a future turn. So activate the barrier. We are going to be returning one copy of Aim Eagle. And we can turn things off again. We want to keep the other barrier around, so that'll be the card we shuffle away. And then we'll have access to Dark Sword Magician plus some other maneuvers. I hope. Let's see what we draw. Still nothing. Where are our cards? Once again, we will be setting a bunch of cards and passing. Not much we can do about it. End turn. All of our bosses have been hiding from us. And they almost certainly have that dastardly widespread ruin waiting in the wings. Yeah, we have 5 boss monsters left in these 11 cards. At this point, even if we do get the big combo, I don't see how it's helping us. That said, of course we are going to go for it. Shield and Sword activates. Then we use our skill. Ultimate Bond, reveal the Acebreaker, and let's put Barrier back into the deck. Aim Eagle comes to our hand. Next, it's time for Pakachu. Pakachu's effect activates, and Pakachu is returned to the bottom of the deck to give us another monster. Now, my opponent controls 2 level 7 monsters, while we control just 1 monster, meaning Dark Sword Magician is special summoned from our hand for free. Next, Aim Eagle's effect. My opponent controls a level 7 or higher monster, so I sent it and Pakachu to the graveyard to special summon a 3500 Ultimate Flag Mech Ace Breaker. Finally, Ultimate Flag Beast Avant Wolf is summoned. And we finish things off with Ace Breaker's effect. Discard 2 monsters from our hand to destroy 1 monster, no conditions attached. Battle phase. Ace Breaker attacks Tough Striker. And here comes the potential trap. We know they have something. It is the Widespread Ruin. They've been holding onto it for so long. But we can't give up yet. Here comes Dark Sword Magician to take out Tough Striker. It looks like they do have another trap card, probably a barrier. Unfortunately, Avant Wolf is probably going down here, but it seems worth trying. Even after all of that, we were unable to clear the board, and now my opponent has 7 cards in hand. Unfortunately, Widespread Ruin, as always, is an issue for our ability to continuously win games. Even after all of that setup, we were not able to get there. Now, what will they do to clear Dark Sword Magician? We do still have 2 copies of Tough Striker in the deck. Will that be enough to win the game? For some reason, I doubt it. Oh, and they had a heavy metal the whole time. Unfortunate. That is going to do it. Our win streak broken once again. I will go ahead and send them the nice. We tried our best, but we were not able to overcome that incredible board of monsters established early. Of course, a Widespread Ruin would have helped us tremendously as well. The opponent's Widespread Ruin is just too difficult to deal with. Here we go with the next one. We are up first, and they have a very clean playmat and sleeves. We have a barrier. Do we go for it? I don't think so. I am going to set this Dark Magician Girl, though. We'll tribute over the Avant Wolf. Throw down a face down, and if they are capping on a 2000 attack point monster like Gravity Fest Dragon with Resonance, we might actually be able to keep Dark Magician Girl around for the next turn. We see a Mystic Dealer, though. They are not on Resonance. They are on Dragon Caster Aggro, featuring the Aqua Engine. Ancient Rise Dragon immediately slammed down onto the table alongside a Protection. No need to barrier here, of course. But we could use another Light Sorcerer, or a Light Monster, I mean, or a Light Spellcaster to debuff this Ancient Rise Dragon further. We do not get there, but that is okay. We're gonna debuff it, and then my opponent controls a level 7 monster, so Ameagle is live. Let's go 1 and 2. Special summon this 3500 attack point Ace Breaker. Flip summon Dark Magician Girl. Throw down a face down. Set this. And we are good to go. I probably should have actually destroyed this with Ace Breaker's effect. But it turns out that the face down card was a bluff, so we are still in this. And now we have a couple of tools at our disposal. Barrier is obviously great at keeping us alive from cards like Dragius that might try to attack into Ace Breaker. and Shield and Sword is a way to completely devastate cards like Burning Blaze Dragon that stay on the field. So, it turns out this is an Ancient Forces deck. But a lone 2800 attack point monster is not going to be good enough. However, Monster Reincarnation, that could let them bring back the Ancient Arise Dragon. But instead they are choosing the Light Sorcerer of Sanctity, which they actually did not use previously to debuff my monster. And they snipe my barrier out of nowhere. Why bring it out this time, though? I feel like, you already had the chance to do that before you used the Monster Reincarnation. And of course, here comes Dragias rising into the light. However, they are leaving Pakachu on the board. Unfortunately, that's not good enough for us yet. But this is absolutely game. Ultimate Bond. We reveal the Acebreaker. Let's get rid of this Shield and Sword. We don't need it. Ameagle comes out. Flip you. Summon the Ameagle. We get a 3500 Acebreaker, who is going to discard some monsters, destroy Dragias for free, and we can then swing in for game. They have no trap cards to protect them, so this is it. Acebreaker, finish it. And just like that, we are on our next win streak. It's only one, so 4 more to go. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see what we can do. Bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, 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 ba, ba, bum. Okay, we are up first. We have an Acebreaker. So we're gonna definitely keep it and the Ameagle to respond to whatever our opponent puts out. Let's set the monsters and end it. See what they do. Bum ba ba bum ba ba bum bum ba bum 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 ba bum. Okay, Third Magician coming out is fine. It means that they aren't clearing our monsters, and we even get to keep our Acebreaker around, showing the power of not summoning it preemptively. Now, do we want to bring in the Aim Eagle or not? We already have one, so we don't need to use the skill. Let's just go here, flip, activate the effect. Send 1 plus 2 to the graveyard. Special summon Acebreaker. That face down card could be a Doriado. I'm gonna go here and flip up Silverwolf. Now, I could destroy the 7-Sword Magician. And actually, yeah, that sounds really nice. Okay, Acebreaker's effect. 1, 2, destroy. Battle phase. This is guaranteed to clear. And then we hit in for 3,500. and 1300, putting my opponent down to just 17, or sorry, down to 12. Unfortunately, we did give up an Acebreaker in the process, but an extra 2100 damage should be good. Though, having it available on the next turn might be even better. Who knows if we'll live to regret the decision. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, but they're leaving a Spell Archer on the board. And they concede. That is our second game. If we were able to just flip one loss into a win, we would have been there. We won 2 games, and then we lost, and then we won 2 more. So let's take a moment and realize if we had just been able to overcome Ronnie's aggro pile, we would be in King of Games right now. Unfortunately, we still have 3 wins to go, but we can do it. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, we're up first, and we have a solid set 3. And we can even keep a debuffer for later. And we can even set up Pikachu as well. This is a pretty reasonable opening hand, as long as we're able to find a boss monster to go with it on the next turn. Let's see what Roa has in store for us. Silverwolf. This is probably just a Hammer Crush aggro deck. Hammer Crush deal on Roa makes a ton of sense, as you get to bluff those heavy metal deterrent plays. Here comes Acebreaker. So, like I said, all we need to do is draw some boss monsters and we're good to go. So many of them have 2500 attack, and the Light Sorcerer of Sanctity would be able to clear through it. But we whiff. So, what do we do when we're this far behind on the momentum? I think Aim Eagle is still nice, as 3500 is a pretty significant benchmark. But it just feels really bad that they're going to get to establish an incredibly powerful board this early into the game. Here comes the Hammer Crush to destroy my barrier as well. This is not looking great. Of course, they are going to use the Hammer Crush to destroy my barrier. They don't want to risk running into a widespread ruin. Okay. Interestingly, they are revealing a King's Majesty engine. It's not currently online, but the Descendant of Titans is there. And now they have 3 back row, even after showing the Hammer Crush. And of course, we are going to draw a billion high-level monsters this turn. Pikachu, let's do it. Activate the effect. We are going to need to return Silverwolf and add this to hand. Then, Aim Eagle. Aim Eagle's effect. 1 and 2. Special summon. I could bring out a second one, but this plays really poorly into Widespread Ruin. Whereas destroying the Acebreaker and then having at least one monster around, I think I need to just go for it. Ultimate Bond. We are going to reveal the second Acebreaker. Add another Aim Eagle to the deck, or to the hand, by returning Dark Magician. So the alternative play is we use the Acebreaker's effect to discard stuff, and then we destroy this for free, and then we would have the White Tiger to clear the board. However, if they don't have widespread, this is much superior as we actually get 2 boss monsters. Unfortunately, the big issue here is that our second one is unable to deal with the Acebreaker if we do get hit by the widespread ruin. And of course they have it. Which is an issue because now they can just destroy my Acebreaker by attributing 2 monsters. And this is the problem with giving them that extra turn to set up. This is unfortunately going to be the end of the win streak. Okay, here comes Dragius. And that is game. Bum 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 bum. I will send them the nice. I think we'll give it one more attempt until we call it a night. Well, actually, I am having fun. So, we'll keep going for a little while longer. Rush Duel. Our progress has been reset, and we now need 5 wins to get there once again. Bum 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 bum. Okay. Let's definitely set up the Pakachu and throw down a barrier. This is a nice looking opening hand. As long as they don't do anything too crazy, and then we draw a boss monster next turn, we can make a good push back. Bum 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 bum. Okay, we see them going for the 7's Axel Road and bringing in a Witch plus Magician. This is actually not too good. This is not bad, as I'd love to get these out of the way while I'm just using random defense position monsters, rather than having them deal 1 billion damage to me. We draw. Dark Sword Magician, unfortunately not able to use the effect, and then we draw 1 billion low-level monsters that don't actually help us here. However, what we can do is clear the board by activating Shield and Sword. Then, when we flip summon our monster... Hold on. Okay, yeah. It's not a Silver Wolf, so, we're not missing out on the debuff. Let's summon you, flip you, set you. Battle phase. Clear the 7's Road Magician and the 7's Road Witch. And let's see what they do next. Hopefully this is good enough to keep something around. It is turn 4, so once they find another witch, the Magician is guaranteed as well. But, I don't know. I think there is still a lot of game left to play. It could go either way. Bum, 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 Bum 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 bum. Magical Stream destroys my barrier. Probably would have liked to get back my aim eagle, but otherwise that's fine. They still haven't shown a way to clear my Dark Sword Magician outside of trading. Bum 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 bum. But of course, they find Witch and a Magician again. Being willing to give up the Dark Sword Magician is a clever play. So I can definitely respect their choices. Now, do they go for the damage or do they destroy the Paku? They go for the damage. Alright, show me some boss monsters and we are cooking. Tough Striker and Ace Breaker. Interesting. Pakachu, come on out and use your effect. Return Pakachu into the deck. Then, Tiger to hand. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. But I would actually kind of like to get rid of the barrier, I think. Okay, so Ace Breaker. Then we return barrier into the deck. We grab an Aim Eagle. And my opponent has a level 7 7-Sword Magician on field, which means we are bringing out Ace Breaker. And then we have the opportunity to use the effect to destroy a card if we want. And then we'd be left with a Magic Juggler on board. However, instead, we can just normally Tribute Summon this Tough Striker. And then we get to have 2 bosses while still clearing their board. Let's summon the Magic Juggler and enter the battle phase. Swing over this, and then swing over the Witch as well. My opponent is taking a ton of damage. They are down to just 1,000 life points. We have 2 2,500 point monsters on the board, and we've gone through 2 Witch and 2 7-Sword Magician. Now, one thing I didn't notice was, did they use the skill last turn? They did. So they have already used the Once for Duel effect to search out 7-Sword Magician, which means unless they hard draw the 3rd copy, I should be pretty safe. We see them going for a set 3. And it is true, we do not have very many ways to deal with this. So let's just head into the battle phase and start swinging. Luckily, their set card is not a Widespread Ruin. Pass turn. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. What will they do? They can't set 3 forever. But it is possible they could stall long enough to draw Widespread Ruin and then kill me on the next turn with the final 7-Sword Magician. But no, they are making a play right now. Do they have game? Pakachu is activating the effect. This is going to let them set up a huge board. If they have another Dark Sword Magician, they can still special summon it since they have 2 level 7s on board. But what will they do? Okay. Here comes 7-Zone Magician. But so far that's fine. 3,900, even into this one, would not be lethal. They set a monster. And now what? They get a new card set face down. I see the issue. All they need to do is clear my Ace Breaker, and now I am the one in trouble. Theoretically, I can clear it, but I feel like there's just such a high chance that that new card is Widespread Ruin or some other way to make me regret everything. And of course, with all 6 of these cards, we don't even have another method of dealing with this. No boss monsters. I think we just have to set. We cannot risk it. I don't know what our win condition is. We can't set 3 forever. We would deck out first, almost certainly. But I guess we can wait and see how it goes. Okay. They take out my boss, of course. But I am fine sitting around as well. Let's end turn. I guess we can put back the Ace Breaker, or we can just get hit by Magical Stream. Unfortunately, that card was a bluff. It was a Magical Stream. So, they are going on the offensive. Interesting. But now do I have a chance? I mean, if I can get 2 boss monsters onto the field somehow, I would be good to go. And of course, Pakachu is a way to do that. So, we're just setting some monsters and waiting things out. Let's see how it goes. Maybe we can use our barrier this time. We do still have an Ace Breaker. No Aim Eagles, but that's fine. With only 1,000 life points, I don't think we need the huge buff. We are just trying to stick things out long enough to find our bosses. Okay. That is fine. How many have we lost? 1, 2, 3. So we still have a ton of high-level monsters in the deck, which makes me hesitant to use the barrier to recycle. Because I don't want to draw 3 level 7s. That's a little bit too many. And what do you know? We draw a billion level 7s. I guess that would have been the advantage of putting back an Aim Eagle. Let's return a card to the deck. Pakachu. Add in Tiger. Now. Tiger. Ace Breaker. So I guess the question is, do they have a recovery force? This widespread is still game here. Despite everything. I mean, I could just destroy the 7-Zone Magician and end. Like, wait it out one more turn. But that feels so dangerous. But is it the right play? It might be. Pop this. And then I think we pass. We can't get hit by widespread. They are down all 3 magicians, so as long as they don't flip a recovery force. Oh, shield and sword. That is one way to do it. For sure. You could have summoned that beforehand. Once you're going to defense mode, fine. Okay, sure. Is this our last boss monster? I see one Tough Striker should be left in the deck somewhere. But what we actually need is Paku's, right? To generate the ability to actually summon 2 bosses. Okay. Here it's Pikachu. Activate the effect. We're setting a card back. Adding a card to hand. Summon. Activate the effect. This has been debuffed below 1500. We summon out our first 2500 act point monster. Tiger. Tiger. And then Dark Magician. A widespread everyone can eat 1. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Then we need it to not be a trap, but it is. A widespread ruin ends it. Oh man. That is a tough one to deal with. I think they actually had a ton of spell cards set initially. And if I had just gone for it, on that first turn with the Tough Striker versus the 7-Zone Magician, I think we might have actually won. Okay, we have an Ace Breaker. Pikachu is not online, so we're setting it and keeping the Magic Juggler in case we draw Light Sorcerer. Bum 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 bum. Thunder the Thunder, Hammer Crush, And some no high-level monsters. So we have a chance here. We keep Magic Juggler around as well. We could go for the Aim Eagle. Is there a point? I mean, it seems pretty useful to have an extra 1,000 attack points, but I don't think we actually need them here. So I'd rather just play normally. We will Silver Wolf, debuff, and we'll keep those Aim Eagles around for later when we actually need them. Summon the Juggler, flip the Juggler, and we are focusing on clearing the Thunder before anything else. I'm pretty sure they have a barrier. Wait, no. Interesting. I failed to play around barrier by attacking that first. Let's end turn. And I mean, this is a fairly strong board. We got rid of one of their limit 3s nice and early. This could be an old aggro deck, as they're still running Thunder. So it's definitely suboptimal in some way. And they concede. Okay. Here we go. We get another chance. Can we do it? Oh, I apparently, have not been looking at my screen. Oh, wait, never mind. I misread the timing. Okay. Magic successful. Let's go ahead and get into the next game. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so they are starting off with a tea set. I might be able to handle that. Like last game, we are going to save the Aim Eagle for later. We are setting up a Pocket Pocket Chew. One and two. Summon the 2 Magic Jugglers, and we try to just clear this board. My opponent is on a 40-card deck, so hopefully finding Widespread Ruin does not happen. Let's go ahead and swing in. Gazelle is down. Magical Ghost is down. And the final one is a second Gazelle. We get lucky and dodge the 1400 with our 2 Magic Jugglers. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so Dragius is a little bit of an issue, but it does keep our Tough Striker alive this turn, which I am happy to see. What I'm not happy to see is absolutely no low-level monsters this turn. I think we have to go with Ultimate Bond. We're going to reveal Acebreaker, and then return a barrier. Grab a low level. Now, I don't know the face down, but it shouldn't be a widespread. So, Aim Eagle is coming in. $3,500. We can go for the 1,000. Because I don't think discarding both of my bosses here is worth it. I'd rather deal with the damage than clear this random face down. Okay. Growl so far can't actually clear this. They have a second one. It's a heavy metal swinging in for game. Unfortunate. Oh man, this is rough. I mean, my barrier's not gonna do anything. We had a good chance to win this one, but it was not in the cards. We are definitely doing a lot better than the previous stream. It's just that we now need a 5-game win streak to actually rank up, which is much harder than 3. Let's see here. I want to set this up. We have 2 tribute monsters, so... I mean, I guess I could set the Dark Magician Girl and keep the Dark Magician for later. That seems reasonable. But if we're fighting a Gakuto, I almost want to have the Dark Magician go down, so on a future turn, if I get hit by a Yami Ruler, I can use Dark Magician Girl as a 2,500 plus some kind of debuffer to actually take out a Yami Ruler. So this is a bit of a weird play, but I am going to go for it. Theoretically, I could have tribute set here as well, and that might have honestly been better, as getting 2 monsters with over 1,700 attack is very rare on the first turn. Harpy Lady, we might be playing against a Blue Falcon formation deck. Hopefully we are, because those tend to be pretty budget. Darkness Crested Hawk coming in, and that is not going to be strong enough to deal with Dark Magician. So, there we go. Dark Magician survives the turn. And now we get some new cards. Okay. We have a Light Sorcerer and a Magic Juggler. So we could do a 600 debuff. Or we could get the plus 1,000, which seems stronger. But we also don't really need to, because we are able to bring out a full field of powerful monsters. Let's just go play normally. Magic Juggler, Light Sorcerer. Activate the effect. Oh, wait a second. I can even do this and then activate the skill. So, now we return the Light Sorcerer from the field to the deck, so we can reuse it later. we bring in the Aim Eagle and activate its effect. Sending 2 cards to the graveyard, special summoning a 3500 attack point Ace Breaker. Now, we follow it up with Dark Magician Girl, rather than popping with Ace Breaker's effect, as we get to have 3 tribute monsters on board at once. Let's head into battle. All 3 of these are able to destroy any monster my opponent controls. We are getting in for a ton of damage and establishing an incredible board. Let's see how Gakuto responds to this. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Okay, they set a bunch of cards and pass, giving me some time to set things up myself. Unfortunately, we don't draw anything particularly interesting, so we are just gonna be swinging in blindly. I'm pretty sure this is a Blue Falcon formation deck. Bum 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 bum. Okay, let's see it happen. Our move, we're just gonna get 1 extra card here. And no point to even set it, as we don't draw any additional cards if we already have 4 or more in hand. Let's just go for another clear. They do have some kind of trap card, but it doesn't look like they are going to activate it. Oh, here it comes, Widespread Ruin on the final swing. I wonder if that's where they put their Seahorse Carrier to properly protect it.